This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we have one of our special guests back again, Guittaro
Thank you.
5000. It's been quite a minute. We've typed him in the past, but today we want to go through and make sure that we got it right or fix anything that we got wrong. Guittaro, man, how are you, man? And what's new, man?
Good. That's a good question because I've been wanting to tell you what's new. A lot has changed since the last time we talked.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I actually don't have to move out the way. People will just drive around me. I like this street because, like almost no one drives here, and I just love making videos like in the street. Like it looks a little dangerous. So anyway, what has changed? We talked last time we talked. I was like, oh man, I try to read, but I just can't read. I mean, not that I can't read, but like as like a reading habit, like it was always difficult for me all my life. But somehow this year I've become an avid reader. And I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the main things is that in trying to read like as like a nightly habit, just to like get myself ready for sleep, I discovered that, my thoughts are very, very random at times. And it's like a lot of times those thoughts are not really productive. But I
Mm-hmm.
find that if you read, then you just focus on one word to the next, to the next, to the next. And often what the author has put in the book is probably way more useful than, whatever you're thinking about. That said, I don't think my thoughts are always not useful, but I find that centering my thoughts is just it's like I'm learning what the author has decided is important. That said, most books are filled with stuff that are just rambling and rambling and rambling, but at the core of it, it's like there is a message there. So now I read like every night almost, and I still write in my journal a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I find that when you are, well, specifically for me, especially, I need to be able to calm down a bit and listen to my own thoughts. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that for a while, then I tend to feel like very lost. Like I'm just going through life and just kind of reacting to everything in the moment, which I think is fun, but I do have a very, very strong long-term vision. So, like, if I guess if I didn't have the vision, then it wouldn't matter that I don't sit down and listen to my thoughts. But I do have the vision, so it's better that I just reevaluate the actions that I'm taking and the direction that I'm going in.
Mm-hmm.
So I still spend a lot of time doing that. And I was just thinking right before the call, like maybe life would be better or more fun, or at least like a little less stressful if I didn't have the vision. That way I could just kind of coast. But I don't. That's just not how. I guess that's not how I'm built. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? As a matter of fact, I think there's a time where I was more like I didn't have a very strong vision. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be a subway performer. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna play guitar and just play for tips, and that's fine. Um, but the problem is, I find myself very resentful of people that I was playing for. You know, like I find myself uh, like they're living such a great life, and here I am just kind of playing in the street.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the times it was still fun to play in the street, but other times I was just like especially when you want the money and you're not getting the money and they're just kind of living their life and having fun. And here I am just like waiting for the next tip. So, but, yeah, I would say probably if I didn't, if I just kind of coasted on that lifestyle, I probably would have been okay, maybe. But I didn't like the fact that I felt like very out of control with my life. I felt like I was just I just found like a lane and there was no getting out of it. And I felt very trapped. So that's when I started to. I know it's crazy. You know why I'm going to be probably talking a lot for the first 10 minutes is because it's like sometimes I think about like things that I will want to share with you, Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would say this, finding you has definitely made a huge difference in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I think about things I want to tell you, and I just like we don't really talk until we're here. So, but anyway. Um, what was I gonna say? I was in the middle of telling a story. Oh
Talk,
yeah,
talk.
what
Yeah.
was that?
I was just gonna say you were like talking about being a subway performer, being resentful about make just surviving on tips. You said you might have been okay with that, and then you were kind of like leading up to something.
Yeah, I was leading up to when I found like self-development types of videos on YouTube because before that I didn't really know that those existed. But when I found them, basically the first time I was exposed to the idea that you can have control over your own life and you could create the life that you want. just based off the fact that like just based off your own strength. Like you don't have to wait for someone to come along and change your life or some kind of handout or something like that. It was really, as scammy as a person as he is, it was actually Ty Lopez that opened me up to that whole philosophy. So I was just like, really? So what he said is like, the more you learn, the more you earn. I was like, that's interesting. And he's like, you can, well, yeah, there's a bunch of slogans that he had, but that really just opened up the path. That was 2015 when that happened. That opened up the path. So I made my first vision board that year, and from then on, I was just like, I just was approaching life with like, if I have something that I want to accomplish in life, it is possible based off of my actions and not just hoping that it happens, you know? So ever since then, I've just been a very, very vision oriented person. And, and, ever since then, I just became a little, not okay with just like not being conscious of what I'm doing. I need to be conscious of what I'm doing all the time, because if I don't, if I'm not conscious of what I'm doing, then I will never achieve the things that I want to achieve. I will never get there. So anyway, that's about the end of my 10 minutes. So you can ask me a question now. oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Well,
There's one more thing. One more thing. There's one more thing. So when I said that meeting you has changed my life, and I didn't really, it was actually before I met you. I would say a lot of what I have learned about type has like I knew about type for like 15 years before I found your channel,
mhm.
but most of what I understand about it now is due to finding your channel. So I think what it was too is like it made me take more of an interest because of your demographic, right, Mercer?
Mhm.
Because as much as we like to think that we have free will and we're making our own choices all the time, it's very interesting to see that sometimes you feel like you can have permission to do something, or at least like an interest in doing something because you see somebody who looks like you doing it. There were no other black YouTubers talking about type. So when I saw you doing it, I was like, it just became more of like I just kind of saw myself understanding more about it. Um, so I have a friend who we actually get on YouTube all the time and type people based off of their interviews, and it's really fun. It's really fun. It's actually become a very strong bonding connection between us, and that's what we like to do like almost all the time. That's what we do for the most part. And we do this for hours like every week. Uh, so thank you for sharing this interaction styles philosophy with me and type philosophy. So I just want to say that. Thanks, Mercer. Yeah.
Oh man, dang, thank you, man. That's awesome, man. I think that I'm happy to hear that because I think there's a lot of other black people out there that like typology. But I think a lot of the faces that they see aren't black people. So I get a lot of people from Africa that say the same thing. So I mean, I'm happy to do that. To get you guys into that. But let's get in something serious here. So how do
Okay,
you
sure.
differ like when you are doing something? How do you like what makes something fun for you?
What makes something fun? That's a good question. That's a good question. I ask myself that often because sometimes I get so into the mechanics of achieving different things and having an impact on the world that I forget to like lean into what's fun. And what's fun for me is just being outside, being with people, seeing people's reactions to the things that I'm sharing with them. Um, and also learning new things too. I want to be exposed to new information, and I'm constantly learning. As a matter of fact, I started a journal. So I have different kind of journal entry types that I do. Some of them is like retrospective journaling, like things that have already happened. There's the idea journaling, which is things that could happen, and then there's my future book, which is like things that I'm 100% sure will happen. It's actually a completely different book. It's like a golden book. It looks like something you'd open to discover the secrets of humanity. That's what it looks like. It looks really nice. But there's another journal entry type that I do where it's like things that I'm curious about. Because what I found that what I found is that I can go through life having different questions and different curiosities about things and not actually get the answers. And I'm just like, why wouldn't I get the answers? Like my brain is capable of learning these things.
Mhm.
So I started writing down things I'm curious about, and I realized part of what's fun for me in life is just being exposed to new information and just learning new things, and just for the sake of it, just for the sake of it. And I also find that I'm always preparing. I feel like I'm always preparing to meet the next person. So everything that I learn from the last person that I talked to, or from the last book that I read, or from the last video that I saw, I might meet somebody who's interested in that, and I would be like, "Oh, I actually learned about that. Let me tell you something." And I might tell them, or we might have a conversation. And of course, especially if they know way more about it than me, then I'll take the listening role and I'll listen and I'll, try to take notes in my mind. And I'm just learning, and it's just cool to learn stuff and to be with people and to have social interaction. So that's what's fun for me.
Okay, okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
What's the
What?
most impactful thing you've learned this year?
The most impactful thing I learned this year. Good question. Let me see. Let me see. That's a good question. Most impactful thing I learned this year. Probably this year. If I'm going back this year, that's crazy. This year was a crazy year. Most impactful thing I learned. I won't be able to share any like information right now, but more so a practice. The practice of um yeah, I feel like everything that I would say right now needs context, and that's why I don't want to open that up right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can give context.
If you want,
Sure,
you can
sure, sure.
ramble. You can ramble. Go on.
Okay.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. Well, I told myself I was gonna ramble for 10 minutes, and then I went past 10 minutes. So I'm like, okay, let me answer direct questions now. But anyway, um, let me see here. Actually, let's circle back to that. I think it will come to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe more precisely, what is the best thing you've read this year?
the best thing I read.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell
what's your
you,
favorite thing?
I
What
finished one. I finished one book today. Oh, sorry, no, no, no. The best thing I read. The best thing
yeah.
I read. Yes, best book I ever read is a book called Non-Obvious Thinking. Yeah, a
Okay.
book called Non-Obvious Thinking. And I see it more as a reference book because it's like this it's more of a list of practices that you can do to expand your mind and to think more non-obviously and to see what others miss. I don't think you'll get much out of it reading from beginning to end. Um, well you should because you want to be familiar with the concepts, right? But it's more of a book that you can pick up when you want to expand your mind and think out of the box. You could just pick up and start from any chapter and just start reading, and then you'll realize, oh wait, I have a there's this technique I can do to see things differently, and it will just help you do that. So I like that book the best. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, During your day to day, you told me that you get a whole bunch of ideas. Can you explain that to me in more sense? Like, where is it coming from? How are you gathering this? Like, walk
I'll
me
tell
through
you.
it.
Yeah, I tell you, it's more out of restlessness. It's like if I'm in a situation, which I guess most of life is this situation here, where I'm just not being stimulated enough. Like I'm not having enough fun. I'm not doing anything interesting enough because like life requires you to do some chores and just some boring things. And I think that in those situations, I just get ideas about what else I could be doing. But if I'm truly stimulated, like I'm really out and I'm really experiencing the world, those ideas they don't really come to me because they're not really needed at that time. I'm already doing it. I'm already having fun. I'm already having a good time. So you asked me that, I thought about this because I'm like, why do I keep getting these crazy ideas? Like, why do I do that? I think that I just have a very high capacity for a high stimulation life, and in the absence of that, I'm scheming about how to actually have that. Yeah, and the other thing too is I perceive steps in between, right? And I think that's where my sense of systems and organization comes in. Because it's like, okay, let's say I wanted to go to Thailand, right? I could just book a flight and go to Thailand, but I understand there's things that you got to do before you get there. That that if you don't do those things, then you might go to Thailand but have a really bad time. So um, like if I were already in Thailand, I wouldn't be thinking about that, right? Because I'm already out there. I'm stimulated. It's fun. But if I'm not there yet, then I think about things like, okay, what about, okay, what are their laws? What are the, like, what's the immigration process? What are the kind of things that I'd want to pack to make sure I have there? And also the, fun stuff like when I get there, what do I actually want to learn? Who do I want to see there? What are some words I can prepare in their language? Just things like that. So, yeah, so the ideas really come from just scheming to just have more fun, really, to be honest.
Okay. Do you find yourself being able to help other people with ideas and things like and like how long does that take you?
What, to help others with ideas?
Hmm.
It's pretty instant because like I get that everyone has their own genius, really. Everyone has their own genius. So uh when it comes to helping people to get ideas, part of it is just sometimes just giving them bad ideas. Like things that I know would not work because it will get them to talk about stuff. And in their talking, they discover things that do work. Um and yeah. And I find that if I just sit down myself and just write down whatever comes to my head, I gotta just let myself have permission to just write whatever because I know that even if the first 30 ideas are garbage, maybe the next five will be pretty good. So when it comes to having ideas for people, I just encourage the same kind of spitballing. It's a technique I learned years ago and it's worked very well for me. Um, but yeah, I also get ideas by talking too. So that's why I have coaching, and that's kind of the main reason why I'm here, to be honest, because as we're speaking about different things, it's more of like an opportunity to self-reflect, and yeah, I might walk away with some kind of better self-understanding or better vision that I could just start applying in real life. Yeah.
When you speak about vision, want to elaborate more about what that conceptually looks like to you?
Sure, sure, sure. So my vision usually is like within like 2 to 3 years, and that's
Okay.
and that is an improvement because as a younger person, my vision was only 6 months to a year, maybe. But now I'm
Hmm.
just like, okay, all right, you have to think a little bit more into the future than what you have been thinking about. So what that looks like for me is in 2026, I'm preparing a world tour for 2026. And the idea is 30 countries in 3 years.
Yes.
And yeah,
You've spoken about that. Yeah.
yeah. So that's the big thing now. And I think part of why, like I would say part of my challenge is um letting other opportunities or I say, part of the challenge for me is seeing, hold on, there's a fire truck. Yeah, seeing opportunities and having to decide, okay, is this part of the vision or is this not? And sometimes it can be difficult to let go of it if I realize that it's not, because it could be fun. It's now, it's right in front of my face. Just do it because it's fun. But like, actually, you're gonna miss out on the bigger goal if you get into this now. So, yeah, it's kind of like I almost feel like with life, it's like there's no all the way winning. There's just like some winning, some losing, and it kind of sucks. I would say emotionally sometimes, but it makes sense. It makes sense. So the vision for the world tour is still strong, and now the practice is seeing an opportunity for the very moment and deciding maybe you shouldn't get into this right now. And it's not always easy, but that's just part of life.
Yeah. Tom, anything? Are we done?
You said what was it? 30 countries in what? Like a period of
Three
time?
years? 3 years?
Yeah, 30 countries in 3 years. Yeah.
I'm just like, what's the motivation? What are you trying to get out of that?
Oh, there you go. That's a good question. So the motivation, I would say there's an intrinsic motivation aspect to it. There's an extrinsic motivation, and then there's also world impact aspect to it. So intrinsically, I just want to be in 30 countries. I want to be in as many countries I just want to be there. Like um and I also know that there's one way to do it where you are just backpacking, just experiencing it for what it is, and that's fine. Um, but when I was backpacking and nomading, like I was always in survivor mode, and it was just, you know, I wouldn't want life to pass me by without making some kind of real impact on other people. So extrinsically, I would say that I see an opportunity for people to um, I see an opportunity for people to see others in ways that they haven't seen others before. People on different sides of the world, I would say, connecting through music. Basically, there's a kid in Philly who could probably start getting into Ethiopian culture because he heard songs from that culture, you know? So if I was in Ethiopia, I would be the person bridging that gap. Because I would say this as a person growing up, especially in my teens, I was I became so much more interested in the world through music. Like I learned about India through Bollywood music. I learned about, Japan through anime music and stuff. And then now it's like when these people are walking by, um, they're not strangers to me anymore. It's like we listen to the same songs and I know some words in your language and we can just, connect that way. So part of what I would accomplish from the world tour is making videos that help people to connect with others from other parts of the world. And I think that's really the impact here too. Like those 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 overlap as well. The extrinsic motivation and also the impact, the real world impact. Because I feel like it's a lot more difficult to be enemies with people from other sides of the world if we're bumping to the same songs and we like the same stuff. So yeah, it's like I you know I like to say that I could be an agent for world peace, but I don't necessarily think anything's wrong with the world. But it's like if we could get along more, then why not, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are some fascinating ideas, man. I mean, I don't, I those ideas they never would have came to me, I don't think. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Guitar man, I am done here, man. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it to you. I'm glad we did this again, right? That's one thing about me, I am persistent on perfecting my craft and what I do here. But this is what I got, and I told you this a while ago. I told you pretty much what about a year ago that I thought that there was something strange about you. And that's because I was wrong. You're in the ENFP. So it's pretty easy to see that you're informing, you're initiating your journey base, right? But you're talking about perspectives, right? You're talking about idea generating. You're dropping tide. Let me see. I mean, felt very trapped with your life. So that's Enneagram 7, generally speaking, because they always feel trapped with like running out of like time or just in general to experience life. So that's Enneagram 7. You dropped Ty Lopez, he's another ENFP. And you took his ideas and it helped you needed permission to do things where you were talking about like how I gave you permission to do something. That's affiliative. Strong bonding connection between people. You're talking about that. So that's what they would call diplomatic intelligence. Um, You broke down things of like on your journey about what could happen. You're journaling, right? You're talking about your journaling. You have a book for ideas. You have what could be. You're talking about you got a future book. You got all of that shit in your different like journal books. You talked about seeing this one book from a reference perspective. That's TE. Get ideas of what else could do. That's NE. High stimulation life for you. Enneagram 7. Perceive steps in between organization, organizing the environment. That's TE. Uh, and when you're going to Thailand, right? You were thinking about the laws. You're thinking about all of that.
yeah,
That's more the affiliative branch, right? You're thinking about staying in compliance with things. Um,
and the how to.
yeah, and the how to.
A lot of how to.
Um, Giving people ideas, you just give them to them and it's almost instant for you, right? That's your hero function, generating ideas, brainstorming, that's NE. Um, and even if you give them bad ideas, it's still just pushing their perspectives. And that's what any DOMs like to do. They like to push the perspectives of thinking for other people, to let people know what could be. Seeing opportunities, even your NI positions coming in there, right? That fifth slot's coming in there, and it's like, okay, we're doing these ideas, okay, but we need to have some long-term perspective with this, right? We're just not gonna just be doing any for the NE. We're gonna put some NI on top of that, right? There's got to be leading somewhere. So that's your NI posing coming on. But again, you're talking about bridging the gap between people, language, and helping people, right? The affiliative, your whole little world peace spiel, and your global interests. So
Yeah.
yes, by default, my guy, you are an ENFP. And
Interesting.
and I apologize for actually getting it wrong the first time. But I saw the way you moved in our group. I saw the way you talked. I saw the way you did things, and I said, "Holy shit, this guy is an ENFP." Especially when I would ask you for ideas of like, between me and you, we would talk about things like, okay, man, what's something that I could do? You would give me like five different fucking ideas, like within 30 seconds. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not fucking SC, this is fucking NE. I was sometimes when I type people something, I like to collect information over time to make sure that I got them airtight. I've told Thomas this over for a while, haven't I, Thomas?
It was a while back,
Yeah,
at least 6 months, if not longer.
yeah. Um, and I recently, I mean, Zara just, and I told Zara, I was like, yeah, man, he's an ENFP. And Zara was like, yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay. And that shows your overall like love to be in an abstract realm as well, right? This is a very abstract realm. Typology in itself. So it's gonna be weird to see a ESFP just stick around and stick around and stick around, right? And then Zara was just telling me the other day, like you're in there giving people therapy sessions. So found that pretty hilarious, man. But anything you want to say, man? Like,
Sure, sure. Do you have like 7 minutes, or do you have to go?
no, man. This is anything you want to say, man. I'm here to listen to, man. What's up?
I appreciate it. Thanks, thanks, thanks. Yeah. I guess I have a rebuttal.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah. So yeah. So there's the aspect of how someone's type could be affected by ADHD, which
Hmm.
something that's something that Joyce Meng introduced to me like a year ago.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, as far as me being in the abstract realm, that's with very specific things. So I know I like to give people ideas, but it's more so like I'm more so doing it because I want to see them change. You know,
Hmm.
like I found that it was very difficult to maintain friendships because a lot of the time have when I would have an interaction with someone, over the course of a few years, like they would just kind of just tell me that every time I talk to them, they would have the same thing that they did last time, right? They
Hmm.
would say, "Oh, I did this." I'm like, you did that last time, you know." So, I think a lot of it has to do with just like it's easy for me to become bored, maybe, possibly due to ADHD. And I
Hmm.
think that at some point I realized that I have way more creative potential to make a life that's really interesting.
Hmm.
And I probably wouldn't need it as much if I wasn't, ADHD. So, that said, the things that I like about life, I think, like, I'll tell you this: when I was on cruise ships, um, a lot of the cultural information that I was learning and the high simulation environment, it was there. I didn't really have to think about anything else, really. I didn't really have to get too abstract with anything. I didn't really need to because everything was just coming to me. But the biggest reason why I didn't stay on the cruise ship is because um, there was no path to like there was no path to real world impact.
Hmm.
There wasn't like and basically everything on the cruise ship is kind of made for you. It's kind of planned for you, and they give you your food, and they tell you what time to wake up, what time to go to sleep. It's an extremely stress-free lifestyle. Um, and even though it was fun and it was stimulating because of the constant amount of people I was meeting, the constant places I was going, uh, I really didn't feel like there was a way to be autonomous and to make something of my own. So I was just like, man, I told everybody, look, I'm out of here within like one more year. And they're like, oh, everyone says that, everyone says that, everyone says that. And I was like, well, I actually mean it because this is a recipe for stagnation and also what you call it, and also just I would say complacency. This is the perfect incubator for complacency and I just can't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't leave begrudgingly. Like that was kind of my plan from like I would say month two of the 2 years. I was like, I'm just gonna get what I need to get, and I'm gonna get out of here. So I would say leaning into the abstract world and the intuition, it always served a purpose. The purpose was just to to live in a high stimulation environment, while also making a real world impact, and while also not running out of money. That's the other thing too. Like when I was on the cruise ship, people would people would leave with their big check, and they would come back 2 months later completely broke. And I was like, "What happened to you?" They're like, I went home, I spent all my money. Like you spent all your money, and like that's one of the fears that I have too, like running out of resources, man. Like you don't have many options. You become less free, at least in the real world, But you can always be free in your mind, but it's harder to do that when there's things that you want that you can't even afford. Um, so I guess part of my rebuttal is that I lean into the abstract world way more because it's an access for what I really want, which is just to have fun, but to have fun with as much resources and freedom as you possibly can. And I don't. It's like I've tried it. I've tried it without having many resources and just backpacking and stuff like that. Um, but I would say part of the difficulty of that too is like, what do I have that's my own? Like, can I actually accomplish something doing this? So I just like I really, it's just very difficult to do that. So I don't know if that's any insight into me at all, or if this makes you rethink anything, or if this reaffirms what you already thought.
Okay, so I'm gonna rebuttal back for you. So everything you said there, on your little fucking rant there was all first person. Um, it's all first person what you said there. It was all about
Yeah,
your own experience, right? And you know from the type of videos, if you're talking in the first person, that's all SI. That was all Enneagram 7 talk, with the cruise ship and everything like that. But the thing about you is it's got to be new, 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 right? Everything's got to be new, 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 new. You need high
Okay.
stimulation, right? And I make
right,
a joke with any DOMs. It's like the thing about them is that when they do something the same, they get a feeling from it, but like the more they do it, the feeling drops. So like the first time they do it, it's up here. The next time they do it, it's down here, and then right here, right? So like no longer are they getting the same response or dopamine from it, so they have to go to something new to get a new response, right?
right.
A new response from something, right? So that's the reason why they stop and start new things. But like you're always talking about even always free in your mind, right? That's another abstraction for me.
Abstract, yeah, definitely.
Uh, and I think what you're saying here, it leans to be more 7 SP, right? Because you're talking about self-preservation first and foremost. And you're not really talking about like intimacy and all that type of stuff. So I would say you're 7 SP. And I think probably 7 SPSO
Yeah.
probably is what I would type you for Enneagram. Um, but yeah, man, I think yeah, man, that helps push
It's
exactly what I saw.
everything he talks about is like so global though.
Hmm.
It's not like, just an ESFP. They're too grounded in the present moment, and like they're kind of hate to say this, but on some level just kind of dull. Like they don't have that much depth. They don't have like the global kind of thinking that you demonstrate just this whole time. Like
Hmm.
think, world peace and 30 countries in 3 years and connecting people across the globe. Like this ESFPs they don't have the capacity for that kind of like worldview, that kind of like understanding of the world. I mean, like when you explain that to me, like that was kind of like beyond my own understanding. I'm like, shit, like this idea, like I said, this would never occur to me. Like bridging people across the world like through music. That's very advanced, like in my opinion. And then even talking about what you said about the cruise ship and everything there, it's just you have this very global worldview or perspective.
Yeah, you're not living in the moment. You're seeing the larger and bigger picture for yourself and for
like
life.
like a almost like a, sometimes they call it like a meta perspective. and meta perspective, or that's like more of like in the abstract realm. Concrete people, I don't know if they would ever have like a kind of meta perspective, like which if you don't understand, like versus just being present in the current moment, like having almost like an overview of what's happening in the present moment, and then an overview of like how this fits into a bigger picture. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that was a great. What Thomas said was great. Yeah, I think also like you probably noticed when you were on that cruise ship, people noticing like you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that, because you got these grand ideas that are larger than life that's spewing from you, while they're more like stuck in the day by day, right? But you're seeing something larger and bigger, right? And they're probably like that's not gonna happen, right? Because most people don't think it's gonna happen, and then the abstract person shows people that what is possible. Um,
Right.
that's main thing there.
So this is more of a question. If you have 5 more minutes, I would
Go for it.
imagine it could take that long to answer the question. But let's say there is an ESFP who's very goal oriented.
That's
Sorry,
not
very
that's
goal
not
oriented.
it's not about being goal oriented. It's about the abstract lens that you put to everything, right? It's also the global and like the global thinking that you attach to everything. It's not just about you, but it's like a larger meta perspective that you put on everything, right? It's about what's best for everyone in the future, right?
it's
Bringing
NF.
people together
Yeah.
for the music. It's about building the bridges between everyone with language and all of that type of thing. That is what you're putting on everything, right? But yeah, go.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, yeah. I can definitely perceive that. But what would it look like for an ESFP, for example, to have a high, high ambition? Like, what would that look like for them?
Well,
Mayweather. I don't know.
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I think Floyd
Something
Mayweather.
grounded in the concrete.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, what would that look like? What would that look like in how they think? Their day to day. Just hypothetically.
Yeah, well, I think
Hypothetically.
Thomas brought in a big great point there. If you look at Floyd Mayweather, I do think he's a Enneagram 3. He's a big hyperachiever. But if you see the like a lot of time with the ESFPs, there's always or like the pragmatic people, there always seems to be like some large rule breaking surrounding them or like some tailspin of drama, documentation. There's something going on there. As for the ENFPs, you don't really see like that much drama, like where they could potentially go to jail. If anything, they'll toe the line of the gray, where it's like they could have manipulated people in types like I would say like the white collar crimes, right?
Hmm.
Instead of like, obvious things that could send them to jail, it'd be like, they manipulate people on this like thing that you'd have to get them, like, I guess Ty Lopez right now. I think he's being investigated for scamming or something like that. I think it's something like that.
Pyramid
But
scheme.
huh? So,
Pyramid. I think it's pyramid scheme.
yeah. Yeah, they but you'll see a lot more drama attached to it with the other ones. Um, but I think you really told the line of knowing the affiliative, right? Knowing what the rules are, knowing what you can and can't do. Like for instance, when you're going to a different country like Thailand, first thing you're doing is talking about the laws and regulations over there, right? You're making sure that you're within those rules and laws, right? So
Yeah, like I don't think that would really I wouldn't even think about that if I was going to
me,
another country. Like, oh,
me
like
either.
what are the rules to make sure I'm following the guidelines?
Yeah,
Um,
same. So
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can see that. It's mostly so I don't get arrested, but at the same time, at the same time,
making sure you're in
it's just
compliance,
was that?
making
Well,
sure you're within compliance.
possibly. Sometimes I think that way. Sometimes I don't. But it's more so like I think there's a relation between the laws they have and what kind of culture they have. Like when I went to Istanbul, people were so afraid to speak to me, and I didn't understand why. But part of it is because I was filming, and then I learned later that they don't have free speech over there. So
Hmm.
they could, if they get
shit.
caught saying something against the government, they could be jailed, and their whole family could be jailed. Like, it's crazy over there. So I'm just like, oh well, going forward, I think it's good to know that because then I wouldn't be so blindsided by how people are responding to me. But then again, I still want to see if I could, you know, I like I like when people are able to break rules, not necessarily laws, but maybe break their own rules, like get out of their own shell, get out of their own comfort zone. So it doesn't really scare me that there are places that don't have free speech, but there's probably a way to help them to feel more self-expressed, even if the laws are not allowing them to do that. And hopefully they don't. Hopefully me or them don't go to jail.
Talking about what
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
A lot
want to
of
go to
what
jail.
a lot of what
Like
could be.
Yeah.
the freaking prisons overseas, like people say the prison system here is bad. It's really
No,
bad over there. Like
not even close, probably.
inhumane over there for real. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Okay.
just to talk about what you just said there, you said there's probably a way for someone to still like find self-expression. So
Hmm.
I saw that as NEFI parent, right? You're talking about like, people still being able to express their authenticity. So I would say that's NEFI there from the last thing you just said, what could be, and then also like trying to make sure that, people still find self-expression, right? Find what's like valuable to them. That's FI. But yeah, 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 man. I am pretty stern on this. I know this is changing your whole worldview, and I know it's gonna be hard. But yeah, man.
It's gonna be no, the way I see it, and my
Even
time is
your
up. But
spiel the other day, when you posted on Facebook, if you don't see my comment, I put ENFP. I know I don't know if you
oh,
saw it. You probably didn't see it, but you made a
no,
post
no,
on
I
Facebook.
definitely, no, I definitely saw it. I wanted to respond, but I'm like, we're having a conversation coming up soon, so
Yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
just let's just talk then. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's just
yeah,
talk
yeah.
then.
And I found that to be hilarious, man. I was like, look at this guy. Talking about identity changing, like being within the rules, asking for permission, and I was like, yeah, this fucking ENFP, man. I sent it to Thomas and I was like, isn't that funny, Thomas?
Is that when he was talking about like his name and like
Mm-hmm.
going back to Reggie and then going back to Guittaro? Is that
Mm-hmm.
yeah?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't want to take up your time, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that was interesting. Was that?
I find it funny because like I think you were with Leon and Joyce Ming, so it's like a whole bunch of the meetings of the NF. I seen the picture you guys had. Was it with Leon and Joyce Ming?
Yeah, check out that video if you didn't see it yet. But
I didn't see it.
yeah,
I
yeah, check
really
it
get
out.
to I rarely get to watching like other like content creators because I'm always trying to like refine my own thinking to like a better way to present the information. And I do
Hmm.
I do like other content creators, but I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think anyone's like there.
They're not rigorous enough.
Yeah, they're not there. Like they're just
Yeah.
like I think I don't want to be mean and I don't want to
Wait,
put other people down, but we're
they're
just
in
in
the waiting
another
pool.
stratosphere when it comes to cognitive functions, understanding, interaction style, finding people's personality type. So it's almost like, unfortunately, it would be better for me to just keep the ideas I
Refining.
have and then flipping them around and then piercing through that to figure out better ways to piece those things together than it is to like listen to somebody else. Because then I'd probably
Mm.
have to listen to them and then I'd be kind of annoyed because then I have to correct them and then it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Um, and I mean, everyone has their own ideas, everything, but I think a lot of the type space is full of dilettantes.
Uh-huh.
Dilettantes, what does that mean?
Surface level understanding.
Okay, dilettantes.
Like almost
Dilettantes.
like hobbyists who
Hmm.
even they present themselves as like experts or really knowing about the subject, but they don't actually know it that well. And
Yeah,
I don't
like
like
that.
again don't want to like bash these other people. Like when we talked to Joyce, I learned things from Joyce that I did perspectives I didn't really wouldn't think of. But also she's an NF. She's an NF, and so just being an NF, she's gonna have a different worldview than NTs.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Like I love like I love talking to like Bodine, but me and him like clash largely in perspectives, and it's because like he looks when he types people to look at them from a particularism perspective, and
Hmm.
I want to put people in a system because if I could put people in a system, then I can keep everything individualized and everything the same so that I could get the best result every time. Like I don't care if it's Guittaro 5000. I don't give a damn if it's Jesse 5000. I don't give a damn if it's Zimbabwe 5000. Like you're going in this fucking system, right? And by doing that, I believe I will get the results that I want almost better every time. And when I start
Right.
to switch it and make it based off what the person is doing, then I'm not going to be able to get the same result. Like I need to be able to get the
Mm,
same result, the same yield, the same whatever. And if I cannot do that, that annoys me because then you are you're putting too many variables, right? And how can you track that over time? How can you measure that if you're twisting it based off if Guitar comes in here, Zara comes in here, Thomas goes in here, and I can understand it from his perspective, but I think for me, it gives you the best results over and over and over and over again. And then I can look
right.
back at like my system to see, okay, how did I mess up? Why did I mess up? And what am I going to do next time so I don't
Yeah.
mess up? But if I make
Mm,
everything individual, what the fuck am I gonna do then? I'm all over the place trying to tweak that, you know? Like I'm just like, But we clash because I have a systematic point of view and he has a
yeah.
particularism point of view where he wants to, you know. But for me, I have more of a science brain, like, science. Like, if I was to run a test, like I need to have parameters and I need it to be the same. And I
Hmm.
cannot do this fucking shape shift based off whoever it is. But I respect that, but it's just not for me. Um,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
And
but he's
just to
not in
add to
great.
what you're saying, like yeah, you actually made a really good point at the end there, talking about science. I don't know if typology will ever get there, but I think the direction it needs to go is being more scientific about it. Because I think if you go the NF route, it's like it's always going to be like fucking people are going to think of it like astrology, and they're not going to think it has validity. So I think it's really going to take the NTs to push it to a place where it might become more scientific and more like widely accepted. I don't know that a lot of people
Intellectually
care.
rigorous.
It's what intellectually rigorous.
More into yeah, seen as
It,
intellectually rigorous.
exactly, and
Not just horoscopes.
I think maybe what Dario's I think going in the right direction with brain scans, and maybe I think MRIs might actually be better at scanning brains. Maybe eventually we'll get to that place. But it's something that matters a lot to me because I don't really think Big Five is that useful.
Mhm.
I don't think it's really that good at predicting things because the thing is that most of these people within psychology, they don't understand typology enough to really have a meaningful opinion about it. And that's what's annoying. Like again, it's more like dilettantism where they think they understand typology. They read some fucking surface level shit, but they don't actually understand it. But they have this strong opinion about it, and you can't sway their opinion because their mind's already made up. But if you actually, like Mercer's trying to do, and he's refining this system, over and over again. If you collect enough information, have a hypothesis and test those hypotheses, and then you can reproduce this, then it gets to a place where it's much more scientific and it's much more credible. So I mean, I don't know if that's Mercer's perspective, but that's definitely something I would like to see happen.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
It's
What do
into
you,
my.
is there any, do you think there's any benefit to how they're approaching how they're approaching typology and not any benefit as far as like maybe not more towards truth, but is there any sort of other impact you think that they're having on the typology world and maybe the community,
Who?
the NFs?
NFs. Um,
Yeah.
I think when you're dealing with NFs, like they know how to present it to people. They know how to take the human aspect to it, to a lot of things. And I think a lot of times as me and Thomas and Zara NTs, we forget about that a lot of times. Right? There's a human
Mm,
Hmm.
element to a lot of things, right? And if you want things to grow, then you have to attack it from that perspective. And it's about like, transforming people. I think that's what NFs do, transforming people.
Hmm.
Um, while we kind of, go about it a different way. I think what they do is they show people the human side of it, you know. Why is it important from a humanistic point of view? I think also, you know, sometimes I learn different perspectives from you guys,
For sure.
because I think you know, I forget about that human side of things, right? I just want to crunch the
Mm.
number. I want to just jam somebody in a fucking system, jam them in a box, and I don't give a damn, you know. Like I just like I want to jam their ass in a fucking system, right? But you guys like help us to understand that we are people and we do have like these feelings and like all of that type of thing. I
And
think that's what you guys do really well.
and I like, yeah, also adding to that, I think they're probably more focused on like just building up people, rather than just like just, again, we're systematic and we just want to kind of understand people on an intellectual level. And I'd say like, yeah, when I do talk to NFC, it definitely always broadens or deepens my understanding of just like, people on an individual like human level. And understanding like people's motivations. That it, again, like we're NTs, we're not gonna really understand it as well as they do.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something that I've learned.
Yeah. And I would also say like the benefits for people, right? Like you guys like, you know, you take people every step of the way, right? While like me and Thomas or Zara, whatever, we may have a grand goal for people in the in whatever, but we're not taking people all the whole way, right? We're like, okay, we
Mm.
got this, we want this result, and this will help people. While you guys like for instance, you're taking them along the journey with you, which I also think is very important as well.
Commendable.
Um, is there anything you want to say, man?
I just said commendable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what I see as well is perhaps can you what do you call it, intentionally recruit, I would say, an NF type of spokesperson for the Mongolian mindset um, movement. I think that like wherever you are going,
Hmm.
if it's important for you to have people on your side or have people benefit from what you're talking about, maybe it could be beneficial to recruit some people who are just good at that part, and you would just train them and say, and if they say something wrong, you have the opportunity to come in and say, all right, that's not how it works, this is how it works, just trust me. And if they
Hmm.
really are an idealist, they probably will trust you if
Hmm.
they've agreed to that contract, and they
Hmm.
will present accurate information, but also bringing people on the human side and helping them to develop as a result of that information.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
I mean, I have absolutely no problem with anyone, you know, pitching ideas. You know, I come to you all the time, so I have absolutely no problem at all, like hearing different perspectives or seeing different things. Like in general, like I talk to John quite a bit. Like, you know, he watches my videos, I watch his videos, and I think sometimes I'm a little brutal on the criticism with him sometimes, I have to remember that I gotta dial it back. That like that I can be a little too harsh on people, right? But my overall goal is to make sure that they present things very well. And I think overall, I want to make sure that, you know, what they're putting out, like they're not going to get trapped in the future based off what they said, you know, or misinterpretation. And that's what I hate in the typology sphere. But I think what I am always willing to listen to anybody with different perspectives on how to do anything, man. I'm always, you know how I am, dude. Like if I sit down with you, I'm like, bro, okay, so what do you think I could do better?
Mm.
You know, like when you like John was telling me, he's like, man, you bring a lot of energy on the camera, and I was like, Guittaro5000 is the one who told me that. You know, I used to get on videos and they'd be like, this is Mongolian mindset. He was like, nah, bro, you got to bring some. You're like, bro, no, you got to bring some fucking energy. So for people that don't know, like Guittaro is the guy who told me, like, bro, you got to get on there, you got to be on the on the camera, and that's
Yeah.
why that became this is Mongolian mindset, and that was all you're doing, man. So you know, like I said, like I forget the human side of a lot of things, man, or like
Mm.
the interaction with other people. Like, you know, I just kind of see it from like, okay, this is the numbers, this is the best approach. Okay, people should just adopt it, right? But then you show it to me in a
Yeah.
different light, and you're like, bro, people aren't just gonna adopt it just because it's the best way or the most knowledgeable way. It's like there's a human component to this, bro, and you need to incorporate that into it. And then that helps
Mm.
me to see that, right? Oh, and then I'm like, oh fuck, like. like I gotta reflect on that, okay, and shift it and change it and then attack it from that perspective. Um,
Ah,
yeah, yeah. I
cool,
think a
cool.
lot of NTs can sit, we can look at things and we will say like it's the best information or the best idea, like everyone should just adopt it. And I think
Exactly. Yeah.
that doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
marketing side of everything.
You
Um,
know, it's funny. My sister is a Montessori teacher, and well, not teacher, just she's a Montessori educator. Like, she practices. Well, she's a consultant teacher. You know, she's going to be an executive at some point. I interrupt her a lot when it comes to how she expresses her ideas. I'm like, you're just telling people that this thing is right.
mhm.
Tell them why, and tell them what they're gonna get out of it. Tell
Like
them, tell them
interest,
like,
Interest.
interest.
yeah, yeah, like what is gonna be the outcome of them doing that? What is the reason? How will they feel? How will their children feel? What will be the impact on their actual life? Like, what are the results they're gonna get?
Mhm.
If they don't know that, then they won't care.
Yeah, it's
So you got to
interest.
make them care.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
the
yeah,
interest
I
component.
think I'm still trying to I'm still going back and forth between whether my sister is an INTJ or an ISTJ, but she's the type of person that, if she's not making enough sales or doing enough business or something like that, she'll go and get another degree. I'm just like, people don't
See,
care about your degrees. They don't care.
hmm
What can you
It's
do for them? What's the impact they'll have on their life as a result of seeing you? You could do that with 0 degrees. They won't even ask you.
hmm Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think there's merit to both, because going her route, thinking that she just has to learn more if she wants to be more appealing. She has
hmm
learned so much, and now she probably needs somebody on her team
hmm
that can help either her become more appealing, or maybe they will be the appeal while she'll train them. You
hmm
know?
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
just like building, like we said, the human side of things, right? You guys help us put that human side out there, right? You help us to small increments that change what we do that will be a more appealing to people. I think systematic types forget that aspect of things.
that's why we all need to work together. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's the
yeah.
reason why, like no matter what, you always got to stay open to criticism, or just in general, like, stay open to new things that you can do. But like I said, I think the NFs bring that proponent of it. That's why I enjoy talking to you all the time because, every time it's like even if I take one or two nuggets from it, it transforms like what I do over time. Right. Like you
Hmm.
told me, hey, Mercer, but you got to stop Xing out the fucking metrics, but you need to, go around them, like little stuff like
Circle.
that, and like even when I do it, sometimes I'm like, fuck, like you pop in my head, I'm like, fuck, let me go all the way around it again, or like, trying to explain the metrics, like, instead of just jumping straight into the video, just for the new viewers and stuff like that, because a lot of times we get, like, I'll get away from it, right? I'll get away from what it means to be somebody new who's watching that video or their experience. I'll get away from seeing that. But then you're like, bro, you gotta fucking do this, man. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. So, like I said, like, man, you guys bring in that human perspective of a lot of that stuff.
When you say you guys, I'm still processing that. Still processing that. But I do appreciate the time, guys. Thank you very much.
He said, you
honestly,
Thank you.
guys, take your time, bro. Like, ENFP, yeah, bro. It's pretty evident. Yeah, I'm just glad I could get around to correcting that, man. It means a lot to me to go back and, you know, um, see where I went wrong, and how the fuck could I be so wrong? It's like, I'm pretty hard on myself about it. And then I go and fucking blow Thomas fucking inbox up. God damn, God damn, how could I be so fucking stupid? Like, how the fuck do we miss that? Like, God damn, like but and the end result is that we get better, man. We get better.
Hmm.
And we see it, so going in the future, we won't make that same mistake. Um, so I do appreciate you coming on here. I do appreciate you like trusting us enough to find your personality, man. And being okay with like, us fucking up. But yeah, yeah. It will not change in the future, my friend. I can tell you that much. It will not change in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
But any last things, man, Guitar?
I mean, I could go on forever, but I think
Any dog?
one
What do y'all
hour
think?
3 minutes is just fine. So
Mhm.
we'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, yeah. But if
Yeah.
you want to say anything or like, you can always reach out to me. Inbox always,
Okay.
man. Any ideas you think that I could, work on from a human perspective, or just, you almost what at 2 million subs?
1.7 something million.
Yeah, almost two.
Yeah.
So like you're like fucking it's like we're sitting down with Shannon Sharp here.
That's funny. That's funny. There's one thing I wanted to share with you. So it shouldn't be too long, but to look up 6 types of working genius. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard of that philosophy before?
No, I mean, I probably from all the information that I have in my brain, I probably can deduce probably what it is. Um, but I'll definitely look into it because I want to be more specific about like what I'm thinking it is. But 6 types of
Hmm.
working genius is probably like some kinesthetic, something like spatial, something, visual, something, that type of stuff.
Not exactly. So it's basically where you fit on a team. There's the
Mhm.
wanderer, there's the inventor, there's the discerner, there's the galvanizer, then there's the enabler, and there's the tenaciter. And if you have all those 6 roles filled, you can get basically anything done. You can start a revolution if you wanted to.
Hmm.
So the reason why I mention that is because there's an aspect of to be honest, like I think that's probably at least immediately more useful than at least immediately. Like probably long term is good to know what your type is, but immediately more useful probably is where you fit on the 6 types of working genius. And it's not a very popular philosophy at all. I just happened to pick up a book. I'm like, genius, I want to be a genius. Let me read it. It wasn't about how to, how to become a genius. It was
Hmm.
really about like where you fit on a team. So a lot of people have very difficult times working at their job because they're not because like they've been hired to do a role that's within that structure that they're not suited to do,
Hmm.
and they might like the industry, they might like the people, but they're on the wrong role and they're being so frustrated.
Yeah.
So if they learn where they fit on that role,
Hmm.
on that structure, they could probably achieve like happiness almost forever if they just switch jobs within that same company sometimes. So I
Yeah.
would say look into it. And I think once you learn, it wouldn't take you more than an hour or two to get what the system is like, and you can probably start adding that to your typology
Yeah. Yeah.
methods, and people could start using that information right away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of times when you think about things of that nature, you can look at like in a project or what part of a team do you feel the best about? Like for me, I feel the best about the vision board, right? How we're going to
Mm.
be in the future. As in like you might feel, a lot better with like, innovation, new ideas, talking to people, that type of thing. I would feel a lot better with just, the vision board, like where are we going? Like and how we're gonna get there and like who we're gonna be and like what are the big tasks that we're gonna tackle. So like a lot of times if you are a person just in general, just noticing what part of the team do you get energy from, right?
Mm.
What would be most meaningful to you? What is something that like when you woke up in the morning, like you like you're excited to get to do? But I think everyone has that perspective, but I do think life kind of rips that away from people because you do at the end of the day have to make ends meet. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You'll probably be a T on that scale. So it's WIDGET, widget. And yeah, you'll probably be a tenaciter. Unfortunately, the test is not free, but I took screenshots of all the tests. I'm sorry, I took screenshots of all the pages of the test, and I'll send them to you. And you could
Yeah.
actually test your way to knowing what your type is on that scale.
Hmm.
Usually, yeah, in that philosophy, you have two strengths. Sorry, two geniuses, two so it's like 3 parts, like two geniuses, two what do you call it? Two competencies
Hmm.
and two frustrations.
Hmm.
So if you wind up having to, if you find yourself doing things that are of your frustrations, you're gonna have a bad time. If you stick to your geniuses, you'll have a great time. And I think,
Hmm.
uh, I would say tenacity is probably a high one for you, and there might be one more that I'm not aware of. But in just listening to you and what you just said, I think you're definitely a T on there. And I talked to what's his name? I talked to somebody. Who did I talk to? You were in the room, Zara.
Yeah.
Was it you? Was it
Yeah.
you who I said is a wanderer?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. You're 100% W. 100%. Yes. So anyway,
Look,
that's all I got. All
look.
right. Well,
10
I have to go,
W's
guys.
here.
All
I
right.
appreciate you.
Hey,
Thank
thank you,
you.
man. Appreciate it, man. All right, guys.
Later.
Thank
Later.
you.